Okay, so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers finished third to last. Well, yeah, it was third for last, but they did have the same record as the Falcons, but I think they might have had a worse divisional record. Um, so with that being said, they had the 13th overall pick in the first round, and with that pick, they chose Tristan Wirfs, tackle out of Iowa. I gave this pick an A+. I think Wirfs is a great addition to a team that has a soon-to-be 43-year-old quarterback. It's definitely a need for them. They need to fill the tackle position. Wirfs has versatility. He could also play guard if they need to have him play inside. I think when you look at all the offensive linemen in this draft, I think you definitely look at Wirfs as one that has some of the best athletic traits throughout the whole. For all offensive linemen in this year's draft, he's strong, he's quick, he's agile, his strength is well proportioned throughout his whole body. Doesn't really have weaknesses. So I think when you take all that into account, he has great techniques, great skill at the offensive lineman position. He moves well laterally, and I think as he plays more, I think it's only going to help him because the biggest knock on him was his consistency, and I think the more you do it, the more confident and the better he'll get. There's no doubt he's going to get some NFL tips and pointers. So I think with all that into account, I think he could be one of the premier linemen in this league within a few years, and I think it was a great pick by Tampa Bay. Fill that need, protect that QB, and get a future Pro Bowler probably at the tackle position. So that takes us to their second round, 45th overall pick, in which they drafted Antoine Winfield Jr., safety out of Minnesota. I also like this pick. I gave it an A. Winfield Jr. is the son of the three-time Pro Bowler and 14-year NFL veteran, Antoine Winfield Sr., and Winfield played great as a full-time starter last year for Minnesota. The 2 years, his junior and sophomore year, were shortened because of injury. But last year he played great. He had 83 tackles, 7 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. You look at his 5'9" height, and it's not ideal, but you look at his 203-pound frame and his strength, and it's very ideal. He's a hard hitter, good tackler, great instincts at the position. He could be physical with the best of them, and I think his film study, which he did all the time with his dad and has learned from his dad, have given him great football IQ and great football instincts. To where I say the potential on him, it could be, the ceiling is high. That's what I'll say. But we don't really know where it is for him. But I think coming in year 1, year 2, I think he's going to bring in run support, help there. He'll bring coverage versus the tight ends. And I think, his great instincts and play recognitions will leave the defensive coordinator and head coach, calm and make him a reliable option to put in there in defensive plays. And so overall, I think it was a great pick as somebody I really think can develop to be one of the better safeties in the league. That takes us to their third round, 76th overall pick, where they addressed another need at running back in Keyshawn Vaughn, running back out of Vanderbilt. This guy's consistency was He had a great game against LSU last year. So overall, I gave the pick a B+. Like I said, a running back was a huge need for Tampa Bay. And when you look at their offense, it's really I guess if you were to grade each piece in the offense, it's probably got the lowest grade. Offensive line's good, wide receivers are good, tight end's good, quarterback at 43. People say he's still good, so I don't know. He might be dipping a little bit in my opinion, but you do trust the guy back there. So with that, he played for 2 Power 5 offenses, or 2 Power 5 universities, my bad. He did well in both. He had a good average in his career. He can find the end zone, a lot of touchdowns. He could catch the ball out of the backfield if need be. And so I think there's a lot to like about this young guy. His frame is very appealing. He's very strong. He can also pass block, which is key and makes sense due to his size. And I think that's going to also be a plus with Brady back there. So I don't think Vaughn is really your star running back in this league, but I do think he's definitely somebody week after week, consistent. He'll get the job done, and he fills the need for running back. I don't think he's one of those guys where, okay, it's not a hole in the offense, but it's not, oh my God, all pro. That reason they're winning, but it's definitely not the reason they're losing. So I like the pick. It was a good pick. It's a need. And that takes it. They did not have a 4th round pick, but they had a 5th round pick. And with it, they got another steal and another pick I like a lot. And I had my radar on him since 2 years ago. And that is Tyler Johnson, the wide receiver out of Minnesota. I gave this pick an A+. I think anybody that has seen Johnson play or watched any of his highlights knows what I'm talking about. And anybody that has not, please get out there, look him up. Tyler Johnson, wide receiver out of Minnesota. Guy's a beast. He's one of the best wide receivers in NCAA last year, and a huge part of the reason why Minnesota went on their great run. I think he's a threat running any route of any distance, whether deep, mid, or short. He's got really reliable and spectacular hands. He could catch it in traffic. He can make one-handed catch. He's just unbelievable. And he's definitely a red zone threat. A lot of touchdowns for the guy. Minnesota really knew how to use him when the field got short. And I think his 6'1" height and 206 pounds are really appealing for a wide receiver. And while his speed has been questioned, I was trying to find it, and I was reading things in the 4.4s and the 4.5s of speed. So I don't think that's deplorable for a wide receiver. It's not breakaway, oh my God, speed. But I think it gets the job done. A lot of people hacked at his speed, but his intelligence and instincts always allow him to be in the right place at the right time and make the play. So overall, I think it was a good pick. This is 5th round we're talking about here. It's not like we're drafting this wide receiver in the first. This is 5th round, and they got a guy I think Brady will, year one, even with all the talent he has on the field, will find Johnson as a reliable target. So that was a great pick. And with their 6th round, 194th pick, they picked Khalil Davis, defensive tackle out of Nebraska. I know what you're thinking. How many A's can he hand out? But I gave another A for this pick, and because I like Davis, especially in the 6th round for Tampa Bay, it's a need. But they also got guys there that have played the position, played defensive line for a long time, some veteran leadership that could really show Davis the ropes. So I mean, then you look at Davis's strength and speed and his agility, and it's like, wow, for a big guy, it's pretty impressive. His speed is it was a 4.75 or 4.85. It was remarkable. And his stats at Nebraska were consistent and showed improvement every year. And while his size at 6'1" and arm length are kind of his biggest weakness, I think with time, I think somebody like him is going to find a way to use his strengths to make sure that weakness doesn't hold him back and doesn't affect him. And with that, I think really with the personnel around him to help him develop, he could be a very easily average starter on defensive line, or maybe your rotational defensive lineman. But again, this is 6th round. I think to find somebody like that in the 6th round with that kind of potential, it's a good job by Tampa Bay's staff and a good pick. Tampa Bay only has 2 picks remaining. They had the 7th round, 241st, and 7th round, 245th. Let's start with the 241st, in which they picked Chappelle Russell, outside linebacker to Temple. This one was probably their worst pick of the draft, C- from me. Although Russell has kind of been through a lot, he had the 2 ACL tears on one knee and the death of his father. I don't think he's got the football abilities one would say it takes to be a consistently good or average linebacker in the NFL. I think the only upside about Russell is his resiliency and his positive mindset and his work ethic. However, I'm not sure if that's going to outweigh his lack of football skill and instincts. And I think that'll hold him back and probably lead to him being cut. So, with that, I gave the pick a C minus just because there is that. You always love a hard worker and a resilient worker. But I don't know if he has the right skills. That takes us to the 7th round, 245th pick, Raymond Calais, running back out of LSU. I thought, oh, not LSU. It was Louisiana Lafayette. That's my bad. That was my error. But even there, he did well. I gave this pick a B minus. It's 7th round. And Calais is pretty strong for his size. He's only 188 pounds, but he's very strong. He has breakaway speed. His agility and elusiveness are not as good as one might think. And I do think that potentially has the ability to be a number 3 ball carrier. He's not really a pass blocker and not really a pass catcher. But it's a nice find in the 7th round. And whether he makes the team or not, it's worth a shot to try him out. So good pick, B minus from me. And overall, I gave Tampa Bay an A minus. Tampa Bay, they did really well at not only drafting and taking care of their needs. They drafted guys that could come in right away and help. And they also drafted guys with ceilings that are so high that we lose them in the clouds. And we don't exactly know how good they really could be. So, good drafting by Tampa. I think they did very well at drafting developmental prospects, and that A minus earned them first overall in the NFC South. And coming up next will be the Atlanta Falcons, the other 7-9 team in the NFC South, and we will see how they did. So coming up is the Falcons draft analysis. So please stay tuned, and thanks for watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers draft analysis. Thank you very much.